Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for the last few years. Thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his voice, his music, and his time for the intro you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also does Halloween and horror. That's his specialty. Does amazing stuff, but does phenomenal commission pieces. Big thank you to all of our networkers out there. Oh my gosh, I love to see you guys share everything up. I am so grateful, so humbled. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you so much. Tonight is going to be a very, very deep and touching educational segment. I have my very dear friend and fellow co-host of Ethereal Encounters Unveiled, and she's got 2 shows on the network as far as time goes. So you check her out on Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, Carolann Iadorola joins me to discuss death, the afterlife, grieving loss, moving on. We talk about it, we touch on it, but I don't think we've ever dedicated an entire segment to it. So put your seatbelts on and enjoy the show. And please, again, I will go ahead and put up comments every now and then. I will flag all of the questions, and I promise we will get to everyone. Without further ado, Carolann, hello.
Hi, everyone.
How are
Michelle.
you?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Are you kidding? Come on. We always have so much fun. Carolann actually does a lot of the Beyond the Outer Realm shows. We do a lot of the uncensored shows.
Love them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, boy. There's only one place you're going to find those. You guys know the drill on that. So, wow. Hello, Blue Star from Rumble. Hello, 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 Janie. Hi, Janie. Oh, my goodness, as we go along. Going down, going down, going down. Hi, hello, Heidi. How are you? Always great to see you.
I see Dolly's out
here. Yeah, I'm making my way down, making my way down. Here we go, here we go. Hello, Sherry. Hello. I'm really thrilled to see you here. Fantastic. Nice to see you. Okay, as we go along. Hello, Dolly. You know, I just always want to break out in song. I know.
Yes.
That's awesome. Wayne, you did make it. You did make it. Okay, I just want to make sure we got everybody before we get a start. People are coming up. Mark, all the way from the UK. I swear you are a champ. Honestly, it's like 2 a.m. for you. Always so great to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Folgers indeed. Folgers indeed. That's nice, even when the chat room gets all into the whole sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So we are going to get ourselves started. And wow. Thank you, Mark. Where do we start with something like this? Do we explore? I mean, I find the afterlife itself There's just so much on that. There's so much information. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions with it as well. So what do you want to start with the afterlife, or do you just want to get into what are you comfortable with? Because this is going to be a little bit about your journey.
Oh, thank you.
Since somebody keeps saying, we'll have that conversation.
It's funny when you brought that up. I never really thought about it before, but I don't think we've ever dedicated like a segment to it, and that kind of is interesting in and of itself, because a lot of people I find get very uncomfortable, when you broach this topic, death, grief, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I've experienced it firsthand myself for the past 3.5 years. And it's always interesting to be the observer and still be the experiencer at the same time. So yeah, I think this whole thing is good for people.
I think so. People from all walks of life, and I think there have been quite a few people, including myself, who have experienced it in the last, 2 to 3 years, especially. So where shall we start? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start about your journey with this, and going into, we can get all into the heavy duty stuff after with Afterlife?
We could definitely do that. The interesting thing that I realized about grief itself is that it doesn't have to be the loss of a person that you love. You can grieve. And of course we know this cognitively, but to know it like intuitively is a different thing. Like lose your job and have terrific grief. And all of the rules for grief still apply. So, we all lose pets. We lose our possessions sometimes. So loss is something that, as uncomfortable as it is, we all deal with it on the daily, and some greater than others, of course. And then you have like your typical grief stages, which they're great because they're true. They don't follow a sequence, although they list them 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you have denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and then interestingly, they added a new one. So there's a 6th one now, and it's finding meaning, and that is it shifts the focus from the loss that you're experiencing into discovering a deeper purpose and meaning after the loss, while still honoring your loved one. But you transform the pain into purpose, and you use grief as a catalyst for spiritual growth, which I thought was brilliant that they added that.
I think it's definitely, I like that, the catalyst that sort of just boomerangs you into, the part of your journey where it does change into purpose, feeling useful, feeling,
Exactly.
like there's something that you can contribute to honor that loss. But then you get into that aspect. I mean, if you're really spiritual, I think, people look at the loss a lot differently. Like I say that, but I've never lost a child, for example. So it's easy for me to say, right? With that respect, I've never had to experience that. And I'm so grateful I haven't. I lost both my parents within about, 14, 15 months. That was very sudden. And I always thought, what? I've never grieved the same as many people. I've had losses in my life, and because I know there's the next level of life. They're on the next leg of their journey. But I've never really, I've had, don't get me wrong, I've had some where I've sensed that the loss of the presence being in my life. Like you can't just pick up a phone. You can't just go and drop by and see someone. And I just get right back into work. But I'll tell you, like, of course, with parents, I felt that, especially with my mother.
Yeah.
My father had Alzheimer's, so he really didn't remember who I was in the last, couple of years. So I had already gone through that grieving, I think, a different type of loss, right? But my mother, who was completely healthy and completely, like, it was just like, wait, what just happened? And then you realize one day, because I have such a busy life, that, I went from when I first moved out of the house, calling my mother like every day for like years, and then all of a sudden I just got so busy in my professional life as I got older that I didn't speak to her as much as I would have liked to. And then that sort of hits on you. So it's harder when you don't live with someone.
Yeah. It's so unique and different for everyone. I mean, before I lost my husband, I met him when I was 18, and we were married for 45 years.
Wow.
So yeah, a long time to be with you. And the funny thing is, you take them, not that you take them for granted, but you expect them for granted. Like, you expect they're just going to be there all the time. And while cognitively that we're all going to pass, and it's something that we all do, obviously, I just never imagined it would happen. I always thought it was going to be way down the road, and I kept telling myself that. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt like, I hate to use this analogy, but I felt like I was inside of 9/11 when it crashed to the ground. It was that bad, Jill. It was so bad. It's taken me a good 3 years to not cry every day, like that bad. Yeah. And it's funny because I watched so many documentaries on grief and people talking about grief to try to help me heal. I had a grief counselor I still talk to once a month, but there's just no words to describe. And then I heard this guy on Instagram who talks about grief, and he said the reason you feel that, and it made so much sense to me. He said, because when you're with someone, love someone, whether it's brother, sister, husband, doesn't matter, your DNA and theirs become entwined. And like you actually do become physically entwined with this person. Your DNA meshes together on a biological level. So you're not only grieving emotionally, but you're grieving physically, because your body knows that something is supposed to be there and it's not there. And that like made a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So, I mean, it may seem woo-woo to some people, but it really is a fact. Your DNA does entwine with those. Thank you so much, Janie. That's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just, if anybody is suffering a loss, I recommend getting a grief counselor. I really do. And it may seem like, oh, you lost your job and you're getting a grief counselor. Yeah, because it hits everybody differently. If you're suffering that bad, where you're depressed, anxious, crying, regardless of what it is. Like, my best friend just lost her dog, and she was a mess for 2-3 weeks. And I told her, I said, maybe you need to talk to some, even if you go once or twice, like it might just be good for you to purge that,
Loss is loss.
Exactly.
Loss is loss. I mean, some people have great coping mechanisms. Other people, not so much. I mean, I always thought I did great with loss, but again, I've never lost a child. But losing certain people in my life, I would react differently. And sometimes it was for a split moment, and it would be just like I would just come right out of it. It's like slipping on the ice and gaining your composure. Didn't hope nobody saw that. It's just like instinctively, I'm just like, no. Like, I think I just conditioned myself so much to say no. Like, be happy for them. They're over. I'll tell you, like, when my best friend died. We're going back many, many years now without aging myself. It's been a long freaking time. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I had a visitation. Like, I was really struggling with that loss because, she would call me like pretty much every other day, almost habitually.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, you find yourself just watching for the phone to ring, back then, like there was no cell phones, aging myself, but no cell phones. And, it just, I don't know, it just impacted me. So I ended up having a visitation from her. And I, in this dream state, this visitation, she's sitting on a couch and she's sitting like on the edge, like we're facing each other, and I'm just looking at her and she's going, She's going, you don't realize how happy I am right now.
Oh,
She goes,
that's beautiful.
well, she had a really tough few years before her passing, and she ended up getting sick. And she goes, I am so happy right now. And I'm like, and I just looked at her and said, well, what am I supposed to do without you? Because we used to joke because I could never remember things. Nothing's changed much, but I could never remember things. And I would always say, you carry all the memories, right? Childhood stuff, because she was a childhood friend. And she said, you'll move on. And I was like, well, shit, all right. I've been told. And you know what? From that moment on, I did.
Yeah.
But it's almost like she just had to give me a little smack and just say, "Oh, go on, like it's okay." It's like, it's like this stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I do. So you just need to be taken out of that.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's funny because in my case, like I could know all those things, talk to people about them all the time, interview awesome folks on NDEs, near-death experiences, but when it happens to you, you just don't, like, I lost my parents, and of course I grieved and cried, but it was so different, Michelle, just so different. I can't even explain, like, for 45 years, every day, this person was in my life, making decisions with me, sharing the birth of our children, buying homes, just life, everyday life, sorrow, joy, pain, sickness, health, whatever. And then all of a sudden, to have them just snatched away during COVID, which we won't even get into that whole thing, but if you get my gist, a lot of stuff went on in the hospital that made me very unhappy. And
well, it's hard because you couldn't even be with your loved ones either.
No, they made me suit up.
Yeah.
I couldn't even hug them goodbye because I had to wear an astronaut suit to do that.
Yeah, that's hard. That was hard times.
Yeah, it was awful. So, that whole thing was in the mix as well.
Yeah.
And it just, the whole thing was just like I said, I felt like I was in 9/11 and the building just crashed down on top of me. It was just, first you go through shock, and even, like I was trying to be strong for my kids, but, on the outside anyway. So there's that whole thing too, you want to think of your family, but.
Yeah. So you can't react. It's hard because you have to be the strong and you can't react. You have to do things in private. You have to be there to help get them through it.
Yep.
And then being in times where you can't be, you can't hug, you can't do anything. And literally, you feel like you're being, like for myself, I felt like I was really robbed of my father. Expected because Alzheimer's eventually, I mean, that comes sooner rather than later. But my mother, I was just like, wow, whoa, like I really felt, robbed at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And a little bit bitter. I won't lie. It was a little bit bitter. It was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So this happens. So for you, what was it like day to day? Just, you get up, you have to go on, right? You have your family, you have to work, you have to eat, you have to sustain yourself.
Yeah, it's funny because eating was like virtually non-existent. I felt like like you don't even think of eating that. And I had to have, like, my sister, thank God I had her, who was a great support to me. She, would make sure that I ate and everything, but you become numb and all you do is cry, like I did for the first like 6 months, just every day, cry. And then, and I would talk to him every day because I knew he was in a better place. And I knew that he wasn't suffering anymore. And that, that's a joy. But one thing I heard a grief counselor say that helped me, it really did. He said, grief is like having a big stone in your pocket and it's huge and heavy. And when you first put it in there and you try to walk around, you can't. You're dragging the stone, right? He said, but you got to do it every day. The stone is there every day. But you notice that over time, your legs start getting stronger and your back starts getting stronger and your body starts getting stronger and the stone gets lighter. Now, the stone's weight didn't change, but you did. So, and that's really true. Like, that's what happened to me. So like, grief is always here. It's always with me, but I'm just a stronger woman now. Like, that just helped me for some reason.
No, absolutely. And there's no time limit on grieving.
Exactly.
You know, this is the thing that I always find interesting is people that are just like, well, it's been a year. Well, excuse freaking me. I didn't realize I was on a schedule. You know, did you have people who would approach you and say, okay, look, snap out of it. Now it's time. Like, what?
Yeah, I've even had family say that to me. Like, it's 2 years already. Don't you think you should move on? And
there are cultures that go years and years. Like they were black for 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years, depending on the, on the culture.
Absolutely.
Or the beliefs, the religious belief system. Like, it goes on and on.
I'm telling you, Michelle, it's almost like taboo. It's so interesting. Like I said, if I look at it as the observer and as the participant, because I would watch people very closely, how they would approach me after because they also knew my husband as well. And I would watch the behaviors and they varied from person to person. Some of them would vary, like, I can't talk about it, don't want to talk about death, don't want to talk about grief. And they would just be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and change the subject. And other people, you'd get hugs and tears. And it was just so amazing to see how differently everybody reacts when you bring up that topic.
Oh, some do much better than others.
Yeah.
Alan is asking if you can address this. Hey, Kurt, this is why I don't do it on purpose, but I find myself distancing myself further away from everyone so I don't get hurt or let down. I always just stick to myself at the end of the day.
Gosh, that nailed it, Kurt. It really did. And it's not anything good, bad, or indifferent. It's just who we are. That's like a part of your monkey brain just protecting you as an individual, and I mean, I don't think I was like that. Like, before my husband passed and I had experienced that, if someone I knew of either their family passed or friend, I was not that person that would just brush it off. I would sit with the person, talk to them. But like I said, everybody is different. And I respect that. I would not get annoyed, Michelle. I wouldn't get insulted. I really learned how not to take it personally because they don't mean it at me. It's just them. They can't deal with it. They're protecting their own self. So I completely respect that. And if somebody doesn't want to talk about it, I'm out. I'm not going to say a word. If they ask me, of course, I'll talk to them about it, but I get it. So Kurt's exactly correct. It's all about self-preservation, really.
Yes. Teresa says the physical absence of our loved ones, just deafening. You have to relearn your life. And offers her condolences, of course.
Thank you so much. See, kind words are everything. People don't realize that. But, when I had a kind word from a stranger even, or a hug, and it meant it would change my day. I'd get up crying in the morning. But if somebody showed a little consideration and understanding, it would flip my day. It really would. So it's a good thing to remember that just a little hug, a kind word goes a very long way.
So what was the either breaking point or catalyst where you just said, okay, look, I have to sort of come out of this a little bit more. You're welcome, Kurt. You're welcome. Yeah. Not so many people value my opinion. Well, you're in good company. We value it very much.
Absolutely.
My chat family.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question, Michelle. And of course this differs for everyone. But I had my sister pushing and it was good she did that. It was annoying. And there were days I just wanted to say go away. But it was really good that she pushed me the way she did.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't do it in a hostile way. She did it in a loving way, but it was enough nudge to get me to snap out of it. And I one thing Joey told, my husband's name was Joseph. I called him Joey. Before he passed, he knew, like, and this is before he was really sick. But you know how you get that intuitive feeling when you know death is coming for you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, Michelle, I'm preaching to the choir telling you, but he knew. And he said to me one day, when I die, I want you to find a boyfriend right away. And I said, you're crazy, you know, and I was telling him all that stuff. And he said, no, I'm being serious, because you're the type of person that you shouldn't be alone. You need to have a man. And he gave me that speech, you know.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Not a little awkward when your husband's saying it to you.
Right. So I was so mad and everything, but and I quickly dodged out of that conversation, because who wants to talk about something like that?
Yes.
But, you know, I remember him in the hospital, because we only had video chat. He said it to me again. And then he said, just remember, I never, ever regretted marrying you. I have no regrets, and I want you to be happy for the rest of your life. So, like, remembering that,
yeah.
kind of pushed me to, like, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, I might as well. I know Joseph would be so mad at me if he saw me crying every day.
Yes. Of course. So what do you realize? I mean, this happens, you know, you go through the heart sinking, and you go through like, oh my God, my life is over. You know, for the most part, life as I know it is changing, you know. Then when does it kick in? Like, did you guys ever talk about spirituality or reincarnation or the afterlife? Or okay, so you guys were communicative about that.
Yeah, big time.
Right. Yeah,
big time. And the funny thing is, I was more so that I influenced him, and I taught him a lot in that area. But he had an out-of-body experience once, and it was so funny, because he was trying to explain it to me, and he didn't have like the words for it. So I think he knew that there was an afterlife too. And I'm reading the comments.
Yeah. I just flashed comments up. No.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So
one thing I want to mention, though, and this may be a little off topic, but I talk about it a lot on my channel. Not a lot, but lately a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jerry Marzinski about demonic possession, especially in schizophrenics, right? And I've had so many conversations with him about these demonic entities that can take over and not possess you, but occupy. I guess they're oppressive, you know, in that sense. And the reason I'm mentioning this is very much related. Is because after my husband passed, about a week after the funeral was over and all the people went away and I was here by myself, you know, that kind of thing. I started getting, and it wasn't a schizophrenic voice. It was my voice that I heard, but telling me, and I'm going to put it in a nice way so we don't get flagged, Michelle, telling me to walk off the planet.
Right.
Okay. So, you know, and you have to be careful.
Yes, you do.
You know what I mean? So, and I never, ever had a thought like that in all my born days. Never, ever, no matter what I've been through. And then it started getting progressively worse, like with each week that passed. And it would be like, you don't need to be here. He's not here. What's your point? Your kids are grown. They'll be fine. And that type of stuff.
Yes. And
it got so bad that it would happen a lot during the course of a day. And then I realized what it was. And it was, I think it was a demonic entity or force trying to beat me spiritually. Saw that I was in a weakened state and wanted to take advantage of that. And then I started praying heavier than I ever did. And within another week or so, with a lot of my prayer and meditation, it just stopped. So And I mention that because in case folks ever experience something like that.
They do. I've worked with many people throughout the years, and I've actually spoken about this as well. Alan makes a good point. Demons have no power unless you give it to them. Here's the thing with that, is that when you are in a state, grieving is so difficult. And one of the main reasons, aside from the obvious, is that after the process has happened, after the death and the loss has occurred, people start looking for signs. They want signs from their loved ones. And
Absolutely.
they are in that, as you mentioned, that weakened state. So, I'll give you signs.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know,
exactly
right?
it.
The signs start happening. Now, all of a sudden, you are accepting the presence in a way, because you're being tricked into what these signs are. And that's what leads to a downward spiral if you don't catch it, and some of it is so obvious, but to show you how some people grieve. I remember I was asked to work with a woman. She messaged me and she said, I have a recording. And I've had recordings left on my answering machine after someone I've cared about has passed on. Like perfect, old-fashioned beep answering machines. Like I've had that right on tape, so it's not digital at all. And so when she messaged me, she said, yeah, she goes, I need you to help me with this message. I'm a bit perplexed. I was like, okay. It just happened that she was in the same city I was in, so it was manageable. I could do it. So I go in and she plays this message, and it was a growly, and she basically, it was calling her an F and C, right? And so anyway, what happens at that point, she looks at me, and says, I need to know if that's my husband. I'm like, did your husband like you? Like, because I didn't know how, to me, it was an obvious.
Oh my God.
I'm listening to this going, this is growling at you and calling you a pretty crappy name right now. So she just looked at me, and then she started doing what we always say, don't ever do this, especially in your own home. And she started doing voice recordings. Something had come in during her grief. She was distraught.
Yeah.
Her husband's car was still in the garage. She would sit in it to pick up on his smells, trying to find this common ground of just trying to connect. And something else came in. And the more recordings that she did, the worse it got. I was constantly being asked to stop by, and it was to a point where I'm like, you need to stop. I need you to read what's going on. She needed comfort. She needed me to tell her what was going on. It got so bad, I finally had to say, I'm not helping you by doing this. I'm making it worse for you. And I can't in good faith do that. You need to speak with a professional, or go speak to person of your faith, your parish, or a physician, or a grief counselor.
Why would you think it was her husband, though? Did it sound like him, or was it just growly noise?
Oh, no, it was like, you effing... Beep,
Oh,
beep, beep. I was just like, I don't think your husband would call you that. But it got worse and worse and worse. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, wait for it, everybody. She called me over. She was, I promise this will be the last time. I said, okay, no problem. I ended up having to clear the place. Eventually I did. But I couldn't until she stopped everything, because it's like keeping your foot in the door. So I sat down. And she said, I've assembled some people. I was like, sounds serious. Okay. I would like to do some necromancing, and I'd like to bring my husband back into the physical form.
What?
I stood up and I said, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I am not. I says, I am not going to help you with this. I don't believe anybody can really help you with this in good faith. I said, this will come back and haunt you. And sure enough, it took her 2 years before I heard, for real. Oh yeah. She goes, well, it never worked. I said, no, I didn't figure. But I ended up 2 years later being contacted to clear the place, and it was bad. It was so bad.
Oh, I can imagine.
this is where it leads you. They get you at your worst point when you are feeling the weakest and the most vulnerable, when you're just hurting and you want just the one sign. If oh my God, I could do a whole segment on people that I've helped who were grieving losses of people that they loved and the after effects of what came through. And I've worked with people. Some of these things take months and months and months to do because you have to work with the grieving.
And you nailed it about the sign thing.
Yeah.
Because my husband and I always for years and years and years said, whoever goes first has to give the other one a sign.
Yeah.
That was like, most couples do that. Like I know a lot of people that do that. Yeah. It's like fun, but you kind of mean it. So after he passed, I was like, I didn't ask for a sign. I just waited for one. I'm like, well, Joey's going to be showing me a sign. And I get up every day and I'm like, well, no sign today. And sometimes I'd be like, Joey, where's my sign? Like, because I talk to him every day still.
Yeah.
But then I gave up because I think you had said that during one of our other conversations and it stuck in my brain about how, you shouldn't ask for a sign because you don't know what you're going to get. So I stopped doing it. And then one day I was walking my dog and I live in a beautiful community with a lot of trees and I always see beautiful birds and everything. But I never, ever saw a hawk in here. And I'm here over 20 years. Never saw a hawk. So one day I'm walking my dog and I just happened to look up and I see this huge hawk. It wasn't just those little baby hawks that we see floating around.
Yeah.
I took video, pictures, everything. It was I forget the name of it, but it was a rare hawk. It was big. It was like this bigger than an owl.
Yeah.
And it just peered down at me. It looked at me dead in the eyes. And I looked up and I went, Joey, that's from you. I know that's from you. And then it just fluttered off. So I knew that was my sign.
See, I agree because birds are a really, like when my best friend died, I had birds that were not native to the area feeding in my gardens. I'm going, I've never seen one of those before. And I had a dove, a white dove that perched itself over my main entrance to my home. And I was so concerned. It was there for 4 days. So I called a friend of mine who did bird and parrot rescue. I said, you have to come get this poor bird. I think someone let it off at a wedding and now it doesn't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And he says, okay, I'll be there, in about 2 hours. After 4 days, I think she just left. And I knew, I said, oh, okay. I'm like, I know stuff, but yet I'm simple. Like I get so busy. It's just like, it doesn't occur to me all the time. Right. And with my mother, it was cardinals because they were her favorite bird. And I was seeing them all the time. I think birds, because, there's just so much wisdom there as well. Like they're messengers, birds. People freak out with, crows and ravens. They're messengers from the other side. They carry messages from the other world, Oh
yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm living here over 20 years. And Heidi mentioned in an earlier chat that she saw like morning doves. That's what they were.
Yeah.
And she said something about she saw them flitting and then 5 of them came out of a tree or something. And I laughed because ever since Joey passed, I see 2 morning doves every morning without fail. And they're always perched up on like somebody's rooftop. And as I'm walking my dog, they're singing, they're cooing away and doing all that. And I know that that's another sign from Joey. I know it. Absolutely. So you're right. Birds, for some reason, are like...
Birds are a big one. Yeah, and I think it's just so comforting. I love that. You know, because it's gentle.
Yes.
I think, a lot of times we talk about synchronicities and such. And I always say it's a universal language without a doubt, the universal speak and vibration frequency, synchronicities. And when I was actually on my way to see my mother, which was going to be the last time I ever saw her. I was, I'm on the highway and I come up, there's this big transport right beside me. And on the back of it was my maiden name, which was spelled very unusually. And it was spelled exactly like that. And it's not a common way of spelling it. So I sat there, I was just like, I said, I understand.
Yeah.
So it's just like noticing little things. And
Yes.
I started noticing a lot more at that point. And they do, like, there's just paying attention, having this dream where you're just sort of like, God, what does this mean? It's easy. Break it down. Go look it up.
Yes.
And piece it together. The messages are just there.
Oh, they are. They're like your little personal oracles, and a lot of us just like to be blind to them. But what is that? I always think of
ending interstellar, most likely. Yeah, trying to connect with his daughter. Oh, yeah. Well, he was okay, let me back up because I flashed these up. My nan passed at 107. What a beautiful, beautiful, rich life that is. 107. Wow. A week before she passed, her husband of 45 years would visit her in her room and repeat, Beth, my love, don't worry, soon we will be together. It's like my grandmother. Actually, isn't it amazing? So I think, your loved ones do come around. They absolutely do come around. My grandmother visited my grandfather every night for 20 years after he passed.
What?
And yes, she was so mad at him. I think he was trying to make nice. He was just so mad at him that he's not even the one who met her. She wouldn't go with him. She went with one of her sisters. It's like, oh, Grandpa, what'd you do? And we found out after the fact, like, oh, it's not good. So, so it's amazing, the things that come out after the fact. But did you ever have any spirit visits or visitations?
I did, and I've talked about this one. I was talking to Carolann in an interview from the Spirit Switchboard. Is that her show?
Yeah, Spirit Switchboard. Isn't she
great? I get them all. I was interviewing her, and we were talking about death and dying and Joey and stuff. And all of a sudden, I felt the back of my chair a little nudge, like a little push. And she said that was Joey, and I knew it was him.
Oh yeah, she's so gifted. She's just amazing.
She's phenomenal. It was like saying, "I'm here. Hello, I'm here." So yeah, in that, I've never seen his physical in dreams. Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tons of them, but never like in outline form. But I did. Oh, and I had him touch my arm once. He definitely stroked my arm one night. It was very loving, gentle, don't worry kind of thing like that.
Yes. You see, they find ways to let you know that they're close, which is so amazing. With my mother, she would flicker one of the lights, which she always said she was, because it's easy. She goes, your sister won't know what else to look for. So I promised I would do that. So she comes, to my place and says, you don't need to flicker lights with me. I know when you're there, So meanwhile, going to the washroom, we just would mind a couple of minutes, the light goes. I'm like, it's very awkward for me right now. Would you please mind, like, just step out? And then everything just stopped. And then it went on. And then I went to another room and then it started. Thank you. Let's keep the bathrooms off limit. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was my mom. She's just, she just loved to joke around and stuff like that. So it didn't surprise me totally. But would it? For all I know, I'll just stop flickering the light. You still won't know, but I know. So, but I like when you can get to that point, where you can start acknowledging the visitations and putting together the messages. Where do you feel? Hey, Michael, where do you feel you're at now? Michael's also a host, Michael Angley Show, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. You're on the network. There we go. So where do you feel you're at? Aw, I bet you do. Jim, the blueberry pies. Where do you feel you're at now in your transitioning with all of this? Like, are you, do you ever try just to have an NDE to try to visit with him on your own? Not an ND, so LBE and OBE.
Oh,
Don't do an ND.
It's funny because Preston has a great book that teaches you how to do them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he does.
I love Preston. He's awesome.
He is.
So after I interviewed him, and this is how easy it is. You just do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, and don't forget to do this. And so I read the book and I said, I'm going to try it. And I tried for like 2 weeks, nothing, right? Crickets.
Yeah.
And then one night I did leave my body, but I didn't see Joey. I saw some dopey musician, like some stupid rock star.
Who are you? What'd you do with my Joey? Yeah.
The strangest thing, Michelle.
Oh my God.
And I got so scared that I just pulled my I don't know how I met this person, but I did. It was the weirdest thing.
Might have just been the level, the door you came in through, the level.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about. I can't figure it, but I left. I did, and I met this person. I don't know what Joey Padone. It was just the strangest thing, and I guess I got scared, jumped back in, but I didn't see Joey. I wished I would have, and I haven't tried since then, but I should.
Right. So let's fast forward a little bit then. So obviously you've come to this point where it's like, okay, because I know we've spoken very briefly about that. I won't, get into that. Okay. Just like, okay, this is it now. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to move on. Not that you forget or that you ever miss a day.
Oh, no.
The grief is always there.
Oh yeah.
But what did it for you where you're just like, no, I am going to take this path because I feel it's therapeutic. I feel maybe I can help somebody else or I can learn things.
Well, I would have to say it was like I've always been into like high strangeness. I love that they call it that now because that was never called that, Michelle.
Oh, really? I use it all the time.
When did that start? Because I learned it on the network. Like I never heard that.
That's a John Keel thing. John Keel coined that.
Oh, is that right? I love it. I love it.
It encompasses everything. Yeah.
It does. It truly does. But my entire life I've been, a student of it is Heidi Tibet. And I think for me, being driven to what I'm doing on the network, especially, is part of that journey that is meant to be. So when I said before about how they added a 6th to the grieving, the list, it's so true because you do try to make sense of this tragedy that happened. And for me, it was to continue this journey deeper than I ever have before. And that helped like nudge me along the way for sure.
Do you feel like watching the shows and working your way to doing, a podcast, do you feel in a way that somehow connecting to the field of high strangers that maybe it would bring you closer to
Absolutely.
being
Gosh, you ask all the right questions, girl.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly the truth.
Yeah.
And it does. It's not just hoping that it would, but it absolutely does. Because every time I interview somebody, they have a different opinion and it's almost like a Kundalini thing, Michelle, but it's not like an all at once Kundalini awakening. It's like a progressive one that, and it's a journey that we all take. And as an empath for me, and my husband knew, and he would always joke with me and say, Carolann, you're not from Earth. Where are you from? Come on, tell me. I can take it. With me all the time. But so doing this and you do this 24/7, Michelle. This has been your life's work, right? So you understand better than most that it truly does bring you closer to, like you were talking about the afterlife. I got such a broad spectrum idea and knowing by interviewing folks that have had NDEs, and each one of their stories are so uniquely different, but they have similar cross
undertones. Yeah.
Yes, that are there, like it's almost like ley lines. They're there, and they all have this in their story, but yet they're so unique and so beautiful. And I think I've only heard one maybe that wasn't so great, but then it turned great, so like he passed away and he was in this dark void and it was awful. I felt a huge tabby cat.
Oh yeah, don't feel you have to read. I just put them up. Yeah.
I'm always so intrigued by what folks are saying.
You see, you want to go after it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember said huge tabby. Yes.
But so it's so, and it does pull you closer to, and it in terms of grief and sorrow, it does help relieve that pain, that inner pain in your core, because like you said before, you do know that there's something far greater and far better than this matrix that we live in. But at the same time, the humanness of me is in so much pain still every day. Like, I don't think probably an hour goes by where I don't think of him in some way. And think about that. If you had to think of, like, say you're sitting here working, you're doing whatever you're doing, and it's you're just constantly pulled to think of that person. So it's been 3.5 years of that every day still.
I don't think that's ever going to change. I think if anything, you will just evolve on your journey and get closer, to connecting, on different ways. I like the one thing you said is the same thing that I have often said. It's very difficult because when you do television, everybody, you get labeled expert. I don't believe in experts in this field. I believe some people have it better than others, for sure. I am by far no expert. It's just trying to make media understand that. And you answer, they make you sound like you're always answering the same thing. You always believe the same thing. No, it's not the case. It's just, I've always called myself a student. People will say, okay, so what's it like being an expert? I don't know, because I'm just a student.
Right.
And they seem perplexed, but that's some of the things that media does. They're there for ratings. They're not there for understanding, as to how things really work. And how can you be an expert in something that, you can't really peg it. You can't really explain it. I mean, proving it is sort of like, well, you might get close, on some levels, but, others not so much. And you look at people who are grieving, how much energy they're projecting. Major psychokinesis and telekinesis being tossed around. And it's really, really difficult, So always bear things like that in mind as well. I think we are all students of life, never mind just the paranormal. This is a journey. This is a journey of learning.
Oh my gosh, Michelle. And what you said about the energy being tossed, you are so 1,000% nailed it. And I'll tell you why. Because after my husband passed, well, for me, everything in my house broke. Everything.
Wow.
And it was the strangest thing, because I lived here and everything was fine. I mean, little things would break, maybe your dishwasher would break or some stupid thing. If I have a laundry list of things that literally crashed and broke in my house. My HVAC system went, my garage door went, my fridge went, my stove went, my dishwasher went, and so on, and so on, and so on.
You're just taking everything out.
I think I did that. I swear to you. Not that I'm so powerful, but I think.
No, but that's what I showed you, how powerful of an energy.
Yeah. And then one day I said, Carolann, this crap has to stop. Like, you got to, you really, like, you can't. You just can't do this anymore. So I said, okay. And then I kind of meditated on that. So things calmed down. But then I started breaking myself. I broke my hand. I broke my rib.
Oh, wow.
I busted up my knee. Wow. And mind you, I had never, very rarely, you know, you have a trip and fall. And then I did it again. I said, okay, Carolann, that's enough. Like, you're pushing this grief thing a little too far. But yeah, you can destroy very easily without even knowing that you're doing these things. And I believed that I absolutely did them. I really do.
I have no doubt. I mean, aside from the fact that grieving itself is a very powerful experience,
Yes.
we are very powerful beings, and people, I think, neglect to remember where they come from and who they are with respects to the fact that we are energy walking around in this vehicle. You are having a human experience, but you are still energy, and you can do incredible things. I've worked with so many people, you know, and all I'm seeing is full on psychokinesis. You know, it's been like that for years, and saying, do you understand? Like, you're doing this. I watched my daughter do it, and she'd be just like, what? I can't do that. Hell, you can't, because I'd know if we were haunted. You know, it's just the emotions, and just the anger, or the hurt. Like, those are strong emotions.
Yeah. You can do some serious damage.
Yes.
You know, and we're all capable of it. We're all capable. We make ourselves sick. You know, it's just, you know, and you know, at some point you have to sit back and say, all right, you know, that's enough. Like, I tortured myself enough, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So what are your thoughts then? You know, I mean, did you guys ever talk about, you know, you get people who've been married a long time and just like, oh, you know, I'm going to come back. We're going to come back together. We're going to reincarnate. You know, we were together in past life. We'll always be together. You know, the whole Dracula thing. I've crossed oceans of time to find you this way. You know, do you ever get a sense of that? Like, is it from this life to the next for you? When it comes to he's your person, you know what I mean?
Yes, we would joke about that a lot too. Yeah. And then when I get mad at him, I would go, I changed my mind. I don't want to know you in my next life. So we would laugh at that. But yeah, I think you're exactly correct. I think that journey, you know, you just keep repicking that same person, whether they come back as your son, your mother, your father. You know,
Yes. So, you know, I love that. I love that as well. I think when you meet your person, you know, you just instinctively know it. And it's just sometimes you have to wait your whole life for that person.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes people are really lucky.
Yeah.
You know,
my person, sure.
Yeah. So, death itself, I truly believe that it's the next level of life. And I think what doesn't help with grieving is the conditioning that we receive through, you know, schooling, maybe parenting, because there's always narratives, you know. Our faith, you know, well, you're going to hell, you know. Well, what is hell? What is hell exactly? Because, you know, I don't even think technically it's mentioned, but it's not even in every religion. I think, you know, you have religious belief systems will always incorporate a belief in an afterlife. You know, some of it might be reincarnation, purgatory, heaven and hell. You know, Christianity and Islam are big with that, you know. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, when I lost people in my life, I explored all of that. I just felt this need to know.
You mean you explored all the different religions?
No, well, I've done that too, because this is what I do. But I mean, you know, you want to seek out real answers. You want to know what's next. Where does it go from here? You know, like I've spoken to spirit people, you know, and I've just asked them, and I'm like, well, what do you see over there? Like with my uncle, for example, really intuitive, never feared death until he was dying. Right. Then he was coming to me and saying, look, you know, like, I need to know how I could save my life. I need to know how, like, why are you asking me? You're just as intuitive, you know. He goes, you have equipment that talks, because I want to speak to my father. My grandfather's like, I'll hook it up, but you're on your own for this. Like, but it's like he had to know. And when I spoke to him afterwards, he said, I said, is it what you thought it would be? Because it seems like they're limited as to what they can tell you. So I said, is it
Yeah.
what you thought it would be? He goes, it's more. I go,
Oh,
what do you, and I said, what do you see? He goes, lights, so many lights.
I hear that a lot.
And I'm like, what are the lights? He said, spirits, spirit energy, essence. And I was just like, good. All right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Do you find yourself in there? Like, I went on this freaking mission. I had to know. Part of my paranormal journey is because I needed answers too.
Of course.
Right.
Especially someone like yourself who's lived this life.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing examples of how you've embodied the strength, wisdom, and compassion from the journey of your grief. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. You guys are all awesome in here tonight. Thank you. Just putting it out there. So,
Michelle, I think again that, sorry, I get distracted because I'm always wanting to see what they're saying.
Oh, yeah, it's there. Just put that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think again that this, becoming a part of this network, it's not even a year. It's maybe like 8-9 months or something like that. Has been such a blessing for me in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard folks, especially that have had NDEs, talk about these points of light that they see.
Yeah. Yes.
Where was I? Oh, the points of light that you were talking about. Yeah. So I hear that a lot, the same thing, that, and and they say that some lights are dimmer than others, and some is so bright that they're distractingly bright. Yeah.
Yep. Light beings. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. No, I mean, I've talked to some spirits. I'm just trying to get a straight answer, and everybody goes quiet.
They do. So true.
You try talking to some spirits about the creator, or about Jesus, like Yeshua, things like that, and everybody kind of goes.
It's crickets.
Right? You try asking, because I'm a tester, I'm a researcher. I have my faith, and I'll ask questions based on my belief system and so on. And then you ask a question, it's just like, or you hear mumbling. It's kind of like, what was everyone mumbling about?
Yeah.
But you're only allowed to say so much. When my grandmother was visiting with my grandfather, he had this woman with him, almost like his guide. And my grandfather, because he's done this with me, after my grandmother passed, he would communicate with me. And I remember stories of my grandmother saying to my mother, because she goes, and she would speak in French, essentially, like a Mozart Vashis, kind of like a something cow. And she wasn't too happy. He goes, always trying to get him to be quiet, because my grandfather would say things he wasn't supposed to. But oddly enough, in communication with him, I would hear that female voice saying, that's enough. That's enough.
Oh, wow.
Maybe they hear her say, what did I say? I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Maybe they have a code that they can't,
I know. Well,
yeah.
Because maybe it alters, because it can't alter it can't alter our path, right? So
Could
maybe
be.
that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I read a study recently. I think it was out a company out of Russia, I want to say. They were able to track where a person's soul goes after they die. They have some kind of machinery. So I'm Googling it, trying to find out if this is fake news. And it wasn't. There was really a company that was able, it was according to the internet, so we all put a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And they said that at first, when the person passed, they were able to track his soul hundreds of thousands of light years away. And then it lost the signal. And then all of a sudden the signal came back, and it was like billions of light years away that their soul went.
Wow.
Yeah. You should go check that out. I probably still have the story somewhere.
I would be extremely interested in that, just out of from a research standpoint. The curiosity is just sort of getting the best of me. But I feel that, I mean, scientists now, are chiming in and saying, oh, we know now that the spirit moves on. Yeah, the spirit moves on.
Mhm.
Kat, also a show here on the network. Carolann is a host here on the network. I can hook you up.
Yes.
There we go. I can hook you up.
I love to interview the other hosts. So anybody email me,
Yeah.
Carolann, Ethereal Encounters Unveiled.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, Carrie, hello, Carrie says she also had researched that. But
Yes.
but that, I think that is just it. They believe that yes, the essence does move on. But let's get into the fact that there is a very strong belief that the essence can split.
Mm.
So the soul can live simultaneous.
Yes, like in multi-dimensions.
Yes, multiverse, right? And this can go on. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, how much of it,
is the soul really splitting, or is it that spooky action at a distance thing that Einstein talked about, where when they did that light test and how it traversed through the holes? I'm so bad at trying. I can't remember the name of the test. Maybe our souls don't split. Maybe they're just here, there, and everywhere.
So we're simultaneously existing. It could be because, I mean, think about it. I know I travel when I sleep. I know I do. I know I go off and have. I mean, I'm in places. I'm like, what was that about? But people mistake it as dreams.
And you don't come get me,
right?
Well, you're supposed to come get me.
Exactly. Come get you. So, but that made you think about that. It's not a dream. Maybe you're just having another. I call them, I was on another adventure, or I was at work. Whatever the case may be. So I agree with Alan. We do create our reality. It is literal. It's we create our physical reality. We do. Everything is mindset. Everything is manifestation. There are so many different parts to that, though. It's just very, very diverse, not super cut and dry. Sometimes there's a lot, like dimensions and realms, and
right.
But I do think, I know that I used to be able to think about something, and I would just go and do it.
Yeah.
People say, well, that's lucid dreaming. Okay, I could fast forward, rewind. I could pick up where I left off the night before. I could do all kinds of things. And then somehow it just kind of went, it's like, oh, great. Kids kind of do that too, because you never sleep again when you have a child.
Yeah.
It's just like one eye open, one ear open.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You never go down far enough.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on afterlife? What's your thoughts on, let's say, what's heaven, what's hell?
I don't think that either of those places are somewhere that you go when you die.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
We always hear about how, Earth is this like school where, we get this education here and then we move on. Well, the great question, move on to where, to what? Then they tell you, don't go to the light. It's a trick, because that's just going to keep you in the reincarnation.
Oh, like the soul trap sort of thing.
Yeah, soul trap.
Right.
And I've heard people that have had NDE say that that's not true. You're supposed to go to the light. So, like you said, Michelle, it's like crickets when you talk to people. You get different opinions. I tend to think it's the school of life here. Mm-hmm. And that seems to resonate. It's a trap, Heidi says. It is a trap. And there's men in it.
Yeah.
I tend to think it's that kind of thing. It's like reincarnation, learn from this life, move on, and I just keep like every day praying, please don't make me come back here. Please.
Yeah. I've heard that this is like a really hard place to reincarnate to. I've heard that that theory from like many different people throughout the years. I'm just like, it's difficult, but you have to ponder, I mean, we're so conditioned to fear the darkness through movies or just through
Oh yeah.
dark beings. You're conditioned to fear the darkness. I've never feared the darkness. I love the darkness. I'm one of those people. I always laugh. I said, I could live in a place that's, I'm not a fan of the cold, but I could do long nights, or I could do a month of nights, like constant darkness. I love the darkness. I love the stars. I love the stillness of all of it. But you're conditioned to fear the darkness and always gravitate towards the light.
Yeah.
You always darkness fears Michelle. It's so funny.
That's good.
But you're conditioned to gravitate towards the light, fear the darkness. That's the conditioning. And then we get into this reincarnation thing, and then you have everybody who's like, no, reincarnate, you were this in a past life, you were this in a past life. They make it very exciting, so when you factor all that in, there's so much emphasis put on the conditioning part of it. I mean, I could see maybe where people might think, you know what, I'm okay with not doing this and stepping outside of the of going down that light, the tunnel of light. And some people, if you talk to, Joe said something very interesting when I first got on the network. And it's so strange because I've known him for a lot of years before ever even coming here. And he goes, there's a belief that going down to that tunnel of light and meeting your loved ones is you being reborn. And you have, a doctor coming through this long tunnel, and you're coming in and you see loved ones there who embrace you and welcome you.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't think I like that option much either, because that means I am back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It is very interesting. And I like this. Jim says, it is our innate need to believe in an afterlife, a process of our brain's evolution of survival. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Yeah, I think that's actually really well put. No darkness could beat the darkness of the mind. It's true.
Oh boy, that's good.
Yeah, the mind, for sure. Ellen says the physical plane is the hardest place to live in, but we choose it just as we choose everything else. We're powerful beings. We forget that we choose it all. Yeah, exactly.
God, such wisdom.
Yeah. Rumor has it this is a gangsta planet. Aliens lock their doors, flying by the earth. Probably not wrong. It's either that or we're just like one big TV show. Planet Earth. Let's see what they're going to do this week.
Don't you find it? That would be great. Don't you find it interesting, though, how the veil is lifting off of darkness's exposure? And I don't mean darkness in terms of night. I mean evil, demonic. It's just exposed now, and we're all seeing it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing, because now it's exposed and we know what it is. We know where it's coming from, and we kind of know the source. That kind of thing can hurt my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. What is our, as humans, what is it that drives us to want to know? Loss. I can understand, loss hurts. And I think in turn, does it create, you would think, does it create a fear of dying? Does it just, I don't fear dying. I'm more concerned about the method of my demise than dying itself. Right?
Exactly. It's how you go, not, when you.
Yes, exactly. Especially with a lot of things that I've worked with over the decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a little bit freaky deaky there, but I think we're on a journey, and the journey to evolution, I think, is to try to sort a lot of this out, because we don't really die. Why can't, for me, and I know better because I've worked this, for so long, but I know we just move on. I know it's just moving on. Here I am. I'm okay. Your loved ones come around and they're always around you. It gets a bit awkward, but they're always around you, and they are pretty much, they're just showing you move on. Like, why are we stuck on this? Why are we so stuck on the physical part of the aspect of it all?
I think because our senses have spoiled us. Like, we've become so addicted to the ego in the physical form, and just gluttony. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that human way.
Yes.
We're all about purchasing, things. You got it bigger, better, faster, that kind of thing. And I think our senses like spoiled us, and kind of, they're always trying to be the dominant force over what our soul knows best. And I think that that's a struggle for life. For our spirit. At least it feels that way. Because think about it, we're always fighting the urge to eat something. Oh, can't have that cake, or can't, go, oh, don't go to the casino, don't gamble. It's like there's always a battle between mind, body, spirit.
It's true. Or the keeping up with the Joneses term of always the next best thing.
And all of that means nothing.
No.
It means nothing. When my husband died, he didn't have a U-Haul truck taking his crap with him.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
There's one thing you learn when you do lose somebody, because, having to clear out my mother's house, like the family home that was there forever. And I realized at that point, coming from myself, because I've lived a great life. I've been able to travel the world. I've been able to experience many things. And I just really like unique things, like old, heavy, medieval revival. It's a past life thing, I'm sure of it, because I find great comfort in being around the energy of certain things, right? People laugh because I'll always say I go really stupid over Gothic arches. I do. It's a really ridiculous thing, but I do. But I've learned, after downsizing twice and leaving the film industry and not having, the manor house, or we would have people come in to film all the time. I was just like, when people want to film at your place all the time, it's a matter of, you have to switch things up, because you can't switch up the house. So you've got to switch up what's inside of it.
Right.
Because it was very unique. But I have 3 storage units, big units.
That's a lot.
Full of pieces that, when you come from a place that's got 10, 12-foot ceilings, and you have 8-foot ceilings, and you realize that big, giant, beautiful, cathedral confessional door, it's not going to work. so you realize, I don't want my family to go through that. I don't want them to, I want to save them the back break, and I want to save them the task of saying, okay, well, now we're going to, we have who they're specialized. Many of these pieces are specialized.
And they're not going to appreciate them like you do. They're just not.
No, it's true.
They're not.
No, it's true. I said, does anybody want anything when we moved? I'm sorry, it's not a key and it's not all white. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? It's just a new time, everything's white, and it's just like, I appreciate that, because, I love this sort of thing. But you see, I have friends who appreciate it. My chairs in medieval. Thank you, Janie. See, and I love to have some of your stuff. Want to get rid of anything? Yeah, I want to bring a truck down. Sure, I'll load you up. I will load you up. But it's just, some of the pieces that you collect over the years, they mean something to you.
Absolutely.
But in the end, it's like, you can't take it with you.
Nope.
And, after a while, you evolve past it. I see things that I'm just like, oh my God, this is an heirloom. I'm never going to get rid of it. And then I sell it like 5 years later.
Right,
I'm ready to part with it now. We outgrow I guess where I'm going with it all is that we outgrow the physical, and you come to realize when you suffer through a great loss, that's what matters. It's not everything else.
Absolutely. It's all meaningless. Sure, it's nice to have nice things. Everybody wants nice things. But at the end of the day, it's just one of the hardest things that I had to do, and I didn't put my kids through it, was to give away my husband's things, his clothes and stuff. It was, and it was so painful that I literally gave myself amnesia for like the 3 days that it took me. So I only remember like the end of it and the beginning. I don't remember anything in between. And it's good. I don't want to remember it because it was just so painful. It was, I just can't. That's all I know about it, was that it was one of the worst things that I had to do. Was
I think it's because you're purging. We think when we do that we're purging that person away, and my grandmother and my grandfather suffered 25 freaking years. So when everybody's getting rid of her stuff, they had to get rid of his stuff from the 25 years before. She's like, don't you touch a thing. It's like, okay, man, all right. So I mean, some people just cannot get through that process at all. Like, it's just not even an option. So but you know what, I do think if you can get past that process, it's always going to be hard no matter when you do it. And it's I'm sure you can agree, you're not purging that person. You're not getting rid of that essence. You're not, that person is always there with you, as as you're being poked in the back while you're doing an interview. It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, these things are all lessons. I truly believe that they are, because you just, after each one of them, it changes you to the core. It really does. It whether it's losing a loved one, losing your pet. I mean, any type of loss. That's why I thought it would be so good for people to hear this, because it's such an uncomfortable topic. Nobody really wants to talk about this, Michelle, except me and you.
Yeah. I think some people, do much better with it than other people. Some people grieve really hard.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, I have family. If a celebrity dies, it's just a major event. I was like,
oh my goodness.
No, it's true. They just do not do well with it. What about your perspective on let's say the afterlife being a state of being, more like like connecting to a higher power instead of being a physical location, kind of getting into consciousness or something.
I think
a sense of being.
Yes, I absolutely think that's a distinct possibility. And I think that once we surrender our physical bodies, that's something that can very well be a viable possibility, that we're just all these, we're just this energy, and it's got to go somewhere. We know it never gets, you can't create it, you can't destroy it, right? So it just is. And it goes back to the state of isness. You know what I mean?
Isness,
it just goes back to what we were meant to be, our true nature. I fully believe that.
Yeah. No, for sure.
To me, the body is just a burden. I mean, it's a great way. It really is. It's just a burden.
A burden, yes.
It truly is. And that's the one thing that makes me not afraid to die, because you're shedding this weight and this, I mean, yes, it's great because we have our senses, and they're just as wonderful as they are awful, right? But I think that when we shed this body, that our true nature is truly exposed. And I think you're right. It's just energy going back to the state that it was meant to be.
Yeah. I think it just goes home. It just goes back to creation, to energy, into the universe, and wherever that place may be. It's so difficult because we have, again, there's so many theories, and you have science saying, no, this is a thing. You have, yes, now we know the essence moves on and trying to figure it out. You have, religious beliefs that tell you it's a thing. We have a lot of good theories out there. And I've been asked that question so many times out of the numerous interviews that I've done through my years. And my only real answer is, I'll let you know when I get there. Because you can't give a real definitive answer. Your faith, because some people have such strong faith. So this is the way it is, because this is what I've been shown. This is what I've been taught. This is what I resonate with. I resonate with a lot of things too, but it doesn't mean they're accurate. Then you get somewhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll use my uncle for an example. I mean, he grew up, as a person of faith because, my grandparents were like that. And, as they evolved in their journey and embraced their spirituality and embraced their gifts and things like that, it was sort of, that belief doesn't completely change. It just evolves.
Yes.
So to hear from him, I was expecting him, which leads me to think, like, is the next level part of our manifestation? Like, if he was, if anyone who thinks, for example, I want to see baby Jesus, is that who they're going to see when they get there? As part of their manifestation, their wants, their right. So if you're, for my uncle, as his beliefs evolved, it didn't mean he didn't believe in the belief of God and Jesus and Mother Mary and all that, because they were raised Catholic. But for him to say there's so many lights, like I feel close to the Creator, like I feel, because you're back to being in a part of that creation. You are a part of that creation, right?
Absolutely.
So there's something that is just so far beyond, I think, the things that we are taught here. And it doesn't mean you can't or don't take it with you. It just means that it's all connected in one form or another.
Yeah. I mean, and we only have, the vocabulary to express so much of it. And I think from talking to people that have had such astounding NDEs, they have a different way of it. I could never re-explain someone's NDE the way they can. For sure. And it's just, and you're right. The ones that really have a strong belief in Jesus do see Jesus.
That's right. Yeah.
The ones that believe in Buddha do see Buddha.
That's right.
So I fully agree that you're taking down that path of your own beliefs.
I think so. I think so as well. Carrie, it's funny. I asked my spirit guide, or my spirit, I'm assuming that's what you said, who really was the genius that created us humans? She replied gently, it wasn't mine. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And Alan says, anyone who thinks we weren't created by some intelligent being hasn't been paying attention. Religion and all that does not matter. 100%.
Absolutely.
It's just manifestation. It could be, there's so many different levels, and it doesn't mean you have to leave behind what you resonate with. It just means that, take it to another level.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a Catholic school. I was raised very strict Catholic, and I had nuns, whacking me around left and right. Oh, and I was told, I was going to go to hell if I didn't do this and didn't do that.
Yeah.
Didn't say, 10 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers, whatever.
Yeah.
Confession every week. And, we were raised in that. So, for me, when I became like 14, I knew that wasn't the way. At that young age. And I went and bought every book by, I mispronounce his name, Cahill Gibran, I call him, but his name is pronounced like Khalil or something. I'm terrible at it. But I went and bought every book that he wrote, and I was back then searching for, I knew that just intuitively, I knew that wasn't the way, that I wasn't going to go to hell when I die if I didn't say my, novena on Sunday. So, and I just knew that intuitively after being, brainwashed my whole life with that. And, it's interestingly, it's like your own spirit guides you towards what you need to know and when you need to know it.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I think sometimes that you will connect more to your creator in nature than you will within four walls somewhere. Like there's, you have to, spirituality will teach you, and whatever beliefs you have, just add the bonus of spirituality to all of it, because it'll teach you that you will find all of that within yourself. You will find it. Because it is literally everywhere. 100%. Yes, that's it. We're all connected. There is a greatness in humanity. And in that we are connected on a physical level, but also in spirit. 100%.
100%,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? What'd you say? It would be a terrible disappointment to arrive in the afterlife and be met by something you didn't know or believe. It would tell you everything that you knew the truth was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, it could, but that's what I always
Yeah.
say. I'll let you know when I get there. What I get from NDEs, it seems that when we transition, we are still in this personality until we remember our true origin and emanation point. You see, I go with that because it was the cruel joke about not being able to freaking remember.
Yeah.
You
Very
know, well,
cool.
you haven't learned a lesson. Well, how am I going to learn a lesson if you don't tell me where I failed?
That's right.
That's
Well,
just,
maybe that's why we're intuitive, Michelle, because maybe those are indicators that are kind of letting us know where we failed and what's really what we should be doing. And because we always have that nagging intuition, each and every one of us, right? And some of us listen to it and some of us don't.
Yes.
But it's true with the NDEs, like talking to people and watching them on video really has given me a lot of hope for the afterlife. Like I feel more hopeful now than I ever have before, that there's something far greater and more magical than we could ever dream of. And I think it's all great.
Yeah. Do you find part of that is because you've had experiences and you've had visitation dreams with Joey and you know that he's still there?
Yeah.
In the moment, like you're still very aware of what you're doing. I have so many stories of loved ones who have come forward for people, and the one I like to tell the most really is of a spirit individual being at a wedding. And because one of the daughters was very skeptical. She goes, yeah, well, if that's the case, what was Aunt so-and-so wearing? He said, the beautiful blue dress and the ugliest hat I've ever seen. The daughter broke down crying. She goes, oh my God, it was hideous. She goes, it was 100% right. And,
hysterical.
Like keep fully aware if that, there's just so many little things that come out where they're so aware of everything that happens in your everyday life. It's still happening. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Loves the topic.
Oh, how
Good
sweet.
Thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. So do you find that has put you in that state of mind where you're like, okay, I think it's okay to let go just a little bit now and go off on my own and my own journey now. Knowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I nailed it. That's exactly correct.
Right.
Because it is a journey. And I had a journey with my husband, and that journey ended as all journeys do.
Yes.
And now I'm like I wake up every day and I start my day with gratitude. I just go through a laundry list of everything I'm grateful for. And I never used to do that. And I do it every day now. And I thank God for allowing me to have another day here. Because all we have is this moment. That's it. We don't have the past. We don't have the future yet. So all we're giving is the power of now, just this moment. And I've learned to cherish that. I really have.
Yeah.
It gets me all verklempt.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's.
Yeah. How can you not, right? Yeah. I know that I find after talking to so many people who have suffered through losses, myself included, that I start listening more now to, and I start paying attention to the synchronicities. I find myself listening more to even nature because it's the simpler things, but you realize we ourselves are a miracle. We ourselves, nature, everything around us that has been given to us to care for, and some people feel very miserable at caring for this incredible planet, and all of that it encompasses, and that that is also part of our journey. To be grateful and to just sit there and look at the simplest things. Also, I sat there the other day for about a half an hour and just watched this little bird fighting with like a piece of something in its mouth because it's nest building time. And I'm just like, it's freaking amazing. It's so resilient. But it's just like, but this is what I think we don't take the time to do. We don't take the time to enjoy those little things. I mean, life keeps you busy, the system keeps you busy, but I think, you could really connect to source a lot easier if we took the time to look at the gifts and the messages, synchronicities. Like, they're everywhere. It's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like we're distracted from ourselves. It's almost like we can't, sit with ourselves anymore.
Yes.
You either have to have a cell phone in your hand, or people can't go to the bathroom without having a cell phone in their hand.
It's
right. I mean, it's just the way it is. So, and like you said, nature, just what, like, that's why even when I'm walking my dog, I just won't look at my phone. I just try to look at the trees and all the birds and just appreciate. But it is all about gratitude. What is this? I think it's hard.
I'm going to go through a few of them. Wayne says, I think it's hard because people for the last 4 decades or more were in the physical with people we love and care about, to suddenly need to learn to move past the physical into something we can't see or touch. It's like people who go for psychic readings. I always say, there are so many gifted people out there. They don't need to use cards. They don't need to use anything. But I think the receiver, it's easier for the receiver to see something physical and go, they look at the cards.
That's a good
point. A good medium doesn't need cards, but you might need those cards to visualize what it is that you're experiencing or what you're hearing, If I ever have to visit my daughter after pass, I'm showing up in green pants and a blue shirt wearing leopard print glasses. They tease me for being colorblind. This is so funny. Yes, look, 100% look around. Magic is everywhere. Teresa says, I agree. To remember our physical connection to Mother Earth and all sentient life in this world. Oh my God. Yes, yes, and yes. The messages are the synchronicities, 100%. Jim, I can watch ants for hours at camp, something so small, but which has purpose.
Yeah.
Right. Going within, remember who I am. Yes, exactly. Kat says, I wonder if people used to say that about books. People can't go to the bathroom without a book. All right. I mean, yes, time definitely, it passes quickly. It changes. I find myself sometimes just looking back and saying, we want so much when we're young to grow up. I want to grow up. Don't want anybody telling me what to do. I want to do this. I want to do that. Then when you're there, you sit back and I think to myself, God, I wish I could go back. I wish I could go back. Right. See my mom and dad, having, Christmas dinner with my grandparents and just people they're just gone. Right? They're just gone. And you realize simpler times. It's just like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Every day I would get up and go, where are you, Joey? Where did you go?
Yeah.
And I would just talk to him and hope I'd get an answer. And I'd be like, I know I'm not going to get an answer, but.
How do you know? How do you know it's just not left as like a sign?
Yeah.
Instead, how do you know? Like when you're talking, that little bird isn't sitting there on the window ledge. I mean, we're kept so busy. An example I like to use is, I use this for people who are like haunted people, but it does apply to people who are looking or who have loved ones. It's like, let's say you leave a glass on the table, you go to work, come back, the glass is moved. Will you know the glass is moved, or will you say, yeah, I left the glass on the table? So we don't pay enough attention to our surroundings. So here you are sitting there having this conversation, like, where are you? And he's like, look behind you, there's a bird on the window. That's me. Right. You're not going to see that. You're just like, oh, where are you? Where are you at? Meanwhile, this bird's like, come here. Like, do you think that's like part of it? Just we're missing out on.
Absolutely. That's why when I saw that hawk, I knew. I was like,
Yeah.
And I took like a sigh of relief. It was just so wonderful.
Yes.
To just know, like I knew that was my sign.
Yes.
There was just no way around that. So it was great. You know, you have to get to those magical moments when you're going through. I know it's hard, easy to say, hard to do, but there will be good things that come from grief. There are good things that come from grief. You know, any suffering, there's an empowerment that takes place inside of you. And I think we need to love ourselves more, respect ourselves more, stop negative talking ourselves. All those things are a part of it. And after you suffer, you know, and it's true, after you suffer, you do have awakenings. You just do.
I like that.
Part and parcel to it.
What was your awakening? What was that aha moment for you?
I think I want to use the word completely, but I'm not afraid of death. And that was a big one for me. I'm truly not afraid to die. Because I know it's like, that was an aha moment for me, not being, and just liking myself as a person better, because I was never just me. I was always me.
A couple. Joey. Yes. Me and Joey. There's us, we.
And then I woke up one day and I just said, it's time you get to know yourself again, girl.
Yeah.
That was like an aha moment.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I know that we love having you as part of our UPRN family. And I love having you in my circle, and I love it. You know, I think you found your home here, and I think that you are evolving in all kinds of great ways, you know, and I think you're just meeting all these incredible people, because there's one thing about this network. When I say, you know, like the UPRN family, I mean, we look out for each other. We, you know, like we just do. I mean, you need a guest, sure. The guest didn't show up, you know, you're available. Yep, I'm there. You know, like it's just we resonate with one another. We just do in our chat family. I mean, we're so grateful. You know, like so many people in our chat, they'll support a lot of the shows, and then we have some who are, you know, who are just here. They love the show. I'm humbled that they love the show so much. Yes. You know, the awakening would be terribly difficult, necessary, but hard nonetheless. It can be, but it could also be really, really beautiful too, I think, you know. Such a great lady. Love the episode as usual. Well, I can hook you up. I can do that. So, okay, it's time to promote yourself. We're getting up there. So tell us about your shows. Tell us what you have coming up. Just go.
Oh, goodness. I have a lot coming up. One of the things I have to say this before I promote myself is I'm so grateful to you, Michelle. You've truly become a friend, and I never met you, but I feel like I've known you forever. I do.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you're one of those people that I've known before.
Oh, probably.
You're a wonderful spirit, and you're just such a good person and a generous and kind person, and I absolutely adore you.
Thank you. You're so kind. You made me cry now, but thank you.
But I just had to say that out loud because I truly mean it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for having me on tonight. I had a lot of, I hope that this helped other people, you know, dealing with anything in their lives that, like I said before, that they've lost. So, but I have shows twice a week, which kind of shocked me because I never expected that. I always go once a week, but it's good. It's going good. And the Friday shows are pre-recorded. They're for the guests that like live in Europe and can't make the live. So they're Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And who do I have on this week? Oh, well, what is today's date? The 5th? Oh my God, I have to look. Well,
tomorrow's Friday. Yeah,
it's crazy. Today I had a really good show with Judy. Yes. She suffered from schizophrenia and recovered. And that that's an amazing story. I think everybody needs to definitely check out.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our conspiracy theory coming up on the 6th. Am I right?
That's tomorrow. That was for those of you who missed Beyond the Outer Realm, since it's a daytime show.
Yeah.
It's with Carolann and I.
You're gonna
We'll
get
catch
sick
it
of
on
me,
her
Michelle.
show. No way. Will never happen.
Right.
No.
So I thought it would be too much. But yeah, I love doing that show with you. And then it airs on my channel like a few weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much fun. So please be sure to watch tomorrow Michelle's show, of course.
Yeah.
We have some good ones.
We do, because that was part 3. And I think part 4 is 1 second. We're doing another one on July the 1st. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's coming up too.
Yeah.
So the show tomorrow is our 3rd show.
It is.
Right? Am I right?
Yes.
Oh, and
Yes.
it's you got to watch it, guys. It's really good.
Yes, it is. We always have a good time, and we always try to be quite informative. So
yes, of course.
And so yeah. So unlike myself, you'll probably actually be able to still see it on YouTube with Carolann.
Oh, so far, keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, you're a little luckier than I am with that. I don't take the chances, and neither does the network. But everybody
someday and have no YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one day it'll come to that and be like, oh God, here we are.
Subscribe to Rumble.
That's about right too. Apparently YouTube gets a bit ornery about that too, just advertising that. So next week, guys, Tuesday, Beyond the Outer Realm, Mark Ollie, my dear friend Mark Ollie, all the way from the UK. We're going to be talking again about forbidden knowledge and hidden archaeology. Grand Canyon, Antarctica, things of that nature. You're going to see a little bit more of those topics coming up, even on the main show, because I have a couple of guests coming on in July. Won't spoil it right now, but we're going to really start getting a little heavier into stuff like that. I get asked about it a lot, and like, all right, darn it. I can't say no to you guys. So we are going to take care of that. Wednesday, for the very first time on the Outer Realm, Joshua Cutchin. And this is going to be talking about the similarities between the UFO phenomenon and the Fae folk. Oh, that's good. I know, right? And Thursday, another friend of mine and fellow researcher, Dan Hammond, is going to be, he's a researcher of the obscure, the paranormal, cryptids. And we have had some pretty incredible conversations, and he's one of these people who will send me photographs and say, what do you think of that? I'm like, is that a freaking wolf? And I'm talking like dog man. He's like, right. He gets some really interesting stuff and deals with some interesting people, so it's just fascinating. So anyway, big thank you to Carolann for joining me this evening. Big thank you to Folgers, Dr. Snick, Steve McGinnis. You have been watching The Outer Realm here on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from New Orleans. Thank you all. Have a terrific weekend. Oh, before I go, you've seen our guest. I'm going to be doing Nocturnal Frequency on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I know. It's going to be great. These guys are great.
Yes, that someone? Oh, yes, you got to post that on your. You'll post that.
I will. I will make sure I get a link, and the guys will tag me in it. Steve Genier and Alex Rondini. They've been on The Outer Realm several times, actually. They're very, very, very good friends. And I'm very, very honored, of course, to be asked to return. And we're talking about female paranormal researchers.
Oh,
it's going to be their season ender. So, come and catch it. And thank you, Cliff. We appreciate your subscribing and liking. And we shall not forget about you. Return. Come back every week. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Michelle. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mwah. Love you guys all.